Way back in the 1970s, a homeowner in Florida bought a pistol, a Smith & Wesson revolver similar to this one. He kept it for 10 years, then sold it legally to another fella here in Northern California, where it was safely kept for another 10 years. So we're up to 1992 when it was stolen, and it got into the hands of a 16-year-old boy on the streets of San Francisco who drunkenly tried to rob a man here on a business trip. He shot the man before he could even pull out his wallet. That man was Ian Johnston's father. Ian was 10 when his dad was killed. Ian is now an entrepreneur and uses the money he makes to fund gun buybacks. Ian has created GunByGun, a crowd-funded system to get guns like the one that killed his father off the street. Thank you for being with us this morning, and let me say how sorry I am for your loss.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, delighted. I think this is an incredibly clever idea because there are so many things that I'd like to protest, or that I get angry about, but I can't do anything. I can't do anything about the NSA. I can't do anything about this social issue over here. I can give you $20 and I get like a fifth of a gun off the street, right?
Exactly, yeah. I think, what we've seen is that the political process on the issue of guns in particular has really been broken. Last year, in response to the shooting at Sandy Hook, there was a very modest bill that was put forth in Congress, something, universal background checks on handgun purchases, and 90% of Americans approved of it. Most people already thought that it was actually the law, and that failed to gain any traction. And I think a lot of people are really frustrated about the state of gun violence in America, and they want to do something. So what we're doing is using crowdfunding technology to essentially just bypass this broken political process and give people a way that they can make a very tangible impact on the issue right away.
So you've already collected a number of guns. This may be a dumb question, but what percentage of the guns that you've collected were legally registered versus illegally?
So we don't know that exactly, but I think that the point is that they're all dangerous and they all pose a threat to society. Like the gun that was used in my father's case, it was stolen from a home just 2 weeks before it ended up in the shooting. So, whether or not it's a legal gun or not, if an individual is not up to the responsibility of owning that gun and storing it safely, if they have any doubt in their mind about whether or not they should be having it, then that's a gun that we want off the street because it poses a threat to the entire community.
And what do you do with the guns after you've collected them?
They all get destroyed. The police department, all the gun buybacks that we operate are actually conducted by the police department, and they handle the weapons and destroy them.
And that's something you've seen, because I know there have been reports of the guns going back out on the street again.
Yeah.
Not in your case, but just in general. We have read reports of they're resold for profit and et cetera.
Yeah, I haven't heard that exactly, but I think, yeah, not in the gun buybacks that we're participating in.
This is something you've seen them destroyed, and that must be a very satisfying moment.
Yeah.
Have you expanded this to other cities? I know you've done it here in San Francisco and Oakland, but...
Yeah, we started in San Francisco back a few months ago and ran a campaign, and that went really well, and we got a bunch of people writing in from other cities. So we decided to do it again, and we ran a campaign in Oakland and then in San Jose. Both of those campaigns were really successful, and now we're thinking in this year we're going to expand it nationally and bring it to cities all across the U.S.
And then from a crowdfunding perspective, which is a really hot trend, can you maybe explain how that technique works specifically for the gun?
Yeah, so we use CrowdTilt as our funding platform, and basically what we've seen is crowdfunding now is being used more and more for as an outlet for democracy, and I think it's it's a way that people can demonstrate their values and their commitment to something, and establish this community of people that care about it and share these same values. And there's a lot of use cases that are happening. There's a guy that ran for mayor in Oakland, Brian Parker, and he used crowdfunding to fund his race. And I think that's sort of what we're leveraging. That's the trend that I think we're a part of.
I think one of the clever things about it too is that where you are on the gun spectrum, whether you are a member of the NRA and a gun owner, or are absolutely abhor guns, both sides don't want that gun floating around unsupervised, unsafe, out on the street or in a home in which the person's thrown it in the bottom of a closet. Gun buybacks, I would think, it's very naive of me, would be supported by both sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I have, friends that are responsible gun owners, and they really understand like how much responsibility it requires to own a firearm, and I think they really appreciate this. And they'll be the first ones to say that if somebody is not up to it, then they shouldn't have the gun.
Did you mean to approach it from that sort of perspective? This, I'm not going to get involved in the, or maybe you are very deeply involved in the gun debate, but we're not going to debate guns. We're just going to get guns that nobody wants, that shouldn't be in the hands of children or people who can't handle them, off the street. Did you approach it from that, or was that just a happy accident?
I mean, yeah, what we want to do is bypass the whole political system that's just fraught with these, obstacles that can't be overcome. Like this whole question of, the Second Amendment and gun rights. I think, with our approach, we want to just bypass all that and just create a way to do something about it.
You're an entrepreneur in your own right beyond this project, and I'm interested beyond crowdfunding for your particular project. What do you think of it as a medium for raising equity, for instance, for a new business? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's powerful. It is democratizing. It creates something that you used to have to find like one person or one source to fund an entire project. Now you can open it up, and not only can you get the same amount of capital, but it's also a way of like sort of getting support and validation of your idea or your concept.
Ian Johnstone, we're running up against our next television show, but your website, GunByGun.org.
Yes.
And you can contribute right there and help fund this idea.
Yep.
We thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Press here will be back in just a minute.